June energies. Got a lot going on, have we not? So I thought I'd dive on the video and do a quick share as to what has been going on my end and what has been transpiring, and just the whole rainbow of it all, really. So I remember coming into June and thinking, oh, this is all very nice. It's all heart energy open. And I was feeling a lot of unconditional love. And I naively thought that we were just going to coast through June and just be restful and mindful and peaceful. And just, it was going to be a more of a time for rest and rejuvenation, more than deep trauma, which is kind of what's been going on my end. It's been a really, really powerful month. And me and a lot of my soul sisters that we do this work, we said that June was a big month. For some reason, we felt that big things were going to happen in June. And we didn't know what. We didn't know whether it was in the world, or we didn't know whether it was going to be for each and every one of us. But we knew that June 2020 was going to be significant. And when I came into June, I was just like, it's going to be a time of rest. The vibrations chilled. It's all good. Do you know what I mean? And it's like coming into June was like a hill sprint that you didn't know was increasing, and nobody told you about it either. Had you known about it, maybe you would have just skipped June and done July kind of vibe. And anyway, so basically started the month, no problem, all good. And then all of a sudden, to hit a brick wall so hard that you didn't just knock your teeth out, your teeth were probably sticking out the back of the head because you ran into the wall so hard. That's kind of what happened my end, and it propelled me right back into my lack of self-worth and the darkness, just like, just thinking that you are not powerful enough or gifted enough or, capable. Basically, that you are not this amazingly powerful, bright light being that we all are. I basically believed completely opposite. And I was like, this isn't me. This isn't how I vibe. This isn't what I know. But I was propelled right back into my old stories. Now, we all have old stories, don't we? And we all differ, but the feeling is still the same. Meaning, some of us have a weakness in our lives where our friends aren't that great, and relationships are a big issue to us, but work's fantastic and everything else is tickety-boo. Whereas you might have somebody where work is a problem and relationships are fine. We all have our places where we suffer the most, and for me, it's about being in flow. It's being the brightest light I can possibly be in every single moment. So my worst nightmare is to be propelled into the darkness thinking that I can't do this work in the fullness of who I am. That's my worst nightmare. So we all have that worst nightmare. So long story short, got thrown back into this darkness, which consequently I'd worked on a year ago, and it got really peaked and then it disintegrated. And I started off this year and this lockdown and the month of June feeling so worthy and empowered and just on top of my game. And oh my gosh, all of a sudden I was like, whoa, it was like living in a mansion and then all of a sudden living on the streets, and it was like by a click of the fingers. And I was like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Don't believe the hype, don't believe the illusion. And I still say that to you now, guys, if that's where you're at, or if that's what you have experienced, it was a timeline that needed to be collapsed. It's a part of you that really, really needed to be collapsed. And it's really important for us to know that sometimes we do have to push on through. Now, a lot of us are sensitives that are watching this video, and because we're sensitives, we go a lot with that energy feel, right? So for example, if we go into something and we feel like there's a bit of resistance or whatever, we mindfully, with our awareness, go, maybe that's not the way that we need to go because it feels a little bit wonky. But this time, that place that you feel that you might not want to go because it feels a bit wonky is actually the place that you've got to push through. So for example, with certain things going on in my life where it just wasn't in flow, usually you go, oh, well, that's clearly the wrong direction. And that wasn't the message. The message was claim that space, push back, because this whole going, oh, no energy coming in there, I better be still. Oh, energy coming in there. That's not a plan, because all you do is end up just basically sitting small and going nowhere. So at some point, there has to be an element of actually a bit of grind, pushing on through, your dreams and your aspirations. It's a process, okay? So I think that a lot of us, if not all of us, suffer with impatience. I know I'm the biggest one because I want everything done by yesterday. And if it's not done, I'm like, but why though? You know? So that's a big thing for us. And impatience for me means that you have no belief system in the outcome. Because if you did believe in the outcome and that it was truly going to happen for you, why would you be impatient? What is the purpose of being impatient? Because impatience is wanting to push something quicker than it should be. Like, I want it now. Well, why do you want it now? Why can't you wait? Because you believe it's not going to happen. So I want to pull it in now so it's a done deal. So that's quite a powerful thing, right? So get rid of the belief system that it's not going to happen for you. All of a sudden, impatience is null and void, right? So with that, okay, basically coming back into the center and really being still in all of this chaos. And then also knowing that sometimes some things take a bit of work, okay? And it does take a bit of grit and determination to just keep on going, okay? So I'll go back to this root system analogy that I was going to start talking about. When you plant a tree, you make sure that you dig that hole real deep, right? Because you want to make sure that that root system in that tree goes deep enough into the ground. So you're going to dig a really deep hole. And then you're going to bring that tree and you're going to make sure that its root system and its foundation is good. So even if we come and hit a storm anytime soon, it's still going to weather the stuff that's going around it. Do you know what I mean? It's still going to weather the storms, the rain, the wind, whatever, because it's got a strong root system. It's going to take you a bit of time to dig that ground. It's going to take you a bit of time to put the fertilizer in and make sure that it's not only anchored, but it grows nice and strong. You know where I'm going with this. And then once that foundation is built, obviously it will start to grow. And then you will start to see little shoots of leaves coming off. And then you'll water it and look after it. And you're like, okay, this is good. This is good. We can see progress. But are you ready to pick fruit? No, because it's not grown yet, because you're still in the process, but you're nurturing and you're creating that foundation and strong roots. And then all of a sudden you get fruit on your tree and you're like, wow, okay, cool. Tree's sprouting fruit. Now I can eat from that tree. And that's kind of like the process that if you're building a business, if you're building a relationship, if you're just, I think just generally on the path of being a light being, from coming out from your density into your fullness and your bright light. Okay. That's the analogy of the tree. I'm very connected with tree lore, as in LORE at the moment. And the trees are talking a lot to me and they have much to share with us because the way they live and the way that they conduct themselves is basically effortless, with ease. They don't worry about what the next tree is doing. They take care of their business and they just reach for the light, and they consequently are supported as above and so below. And they've just got a good thing going on, trees. I shan't go into it because that's a whole nother post, actually. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I'm into trees right now. They got it. They're showing us a lot. So be like a tree is what I'm saying. So really get that root system into the earth and know that whatever you're pushing for through this month of June, with all of its challenges and everything like that, because this eclipse is all about massive growth within you, but also within the community, the world. So we're all growing and expanding and pushing the stuff off we don't need. So it's a little bit of a hectic time, but also know why it's happening and what it's all about, because it's almost like the final push. We have gone through extraordinary times. 6 months ago, would you have ever prophesied that we'd be going through this? Actually, nobody answered that because somebody's going to say Nostradamus said, da, da, da. I'm talking about your mate in the pub or whatever. Do you know what I mean? We didn't know we were going to go through all of this. It's nuts, isn't it? Absolutely nuts. So great, massive nutso times comes with great, massive nutso expansion. So the month of June is, remember, an eclipse is where it blocks out the light. There's a moment of just like, oh my God, I'm in the darkness. What the hell's going on? But you've got to know and trust that the eclipse will soon pass and then start to basically allow the light to then light up the place again, and you'll be able to see, because you need to be able to trust your process as much in the darkness as you can in the light. So I do feel that the month of June is really pushing us to get rid of those old programs. Like, I mean, we've talked about that root system, and going back to the same old, imagine, I don't want to talk about cutting down trees, but it's the best thing I can talk about now. But anyway, imagine a tree and you're cutting it down. Imagine a weed. Don't want to touch the trees. The trees are my friends. So imagine the weed, okay, growing, all right? And you're going to cut it down, and you're going to cut it down, and you're going to cut it down. You've got to get right into the roots. There's no point in leaving that much in the earth, because then it's going to grow back. So imagine this process of us going through this year, 2020. Now we hit June, eclipse season, and now we're just like still going over our old shit. Are we still in our old shit and nothing's moving? Or are we working our way down the weed, cutting it off chunk by chunk by chunk until we get to the root system of that weed, and then we're able to pull the roots out and go, right, okay, you're done. And I really do feel that this month of June has served its purpose in that respect, 100%. And I say this to you now, to know and trust that every single eclipse, every single full moon, new moon, supermoon, whatever, has been strategically placed by spirit, by our guides, by the universe, to assist us in this very time of great expansion and our own individual paths and journeys and expansion. So that those eclipses have been placed there right now for us to pick up those last tendrils of the weeds in the earth, for us to never do this again. Because I don't know about you, I put it this way, I have never cried like I did the other day. You know, when people say they cry from their gut, I cry from my root chakra, actually. I didn't think I could cry that deep. And whatever I purged out for this reason, this lack of self-worth, it was an old program. And my voice even changed when I was crying. It was deep. And I just got to let that shit go. So understand that if you're going through a sludgy time, you're not like one step forward, 20 million steps back. Not at all. You are, in fact, 20 steps forward plus another 20 steps forward on top of that. So understand and know what your process is and why it's going on, and just honor it in every single way possible. And as my dear friend Ciolanu says in one of her posts, which I loved the other day, she said, she channeled something through, and it just said, be the yes man, basically. You know, she channeled something through, and they said, you know, if it lights your heart up and it's come through as a divine idea, or just say yes, and then spirit will take it from there for you. And that's another thing that I just want to leave you with, okay, is our only job is to have creation and intention, and then hand it over and walk away from it. Remember those seeds? We're talking a lot of gardening today. We're talking trees and weeds and stuff. So let's just stay in that realm. Remember, taking the seeds, sprinkle them in the earth, chuck some water on them, and then walk away. Spirit will do the rest. So, gardening 101. I think we know what we got to do. Okay, get your root system in the earth, weed your garden, be the yes man, and know that this is the last purge. Tell yourself that this is the last purge. Anyway, I'm off now because I'm going to let you digest all of those seeds. I love you long time, and I will speak to you soon. Peace.